Is all this network effect, all this development for nothing? Is it all a scam? Is it all a joke? Or is it something different? Let's talk about that for a second. Now, if you've been watching my content, you know I talk about 3 revolutionary cycles that are converging. Anybody seen that thesis I put out there? Okay, hardly anybody. You should. 3 revolutionary cycles that are converging that tells us why the world seems so crazy right now, and more importantly, where it's going. One is a political revolution cycle on a 250-year time frame. One is an 80-year financial revolution cycle, and one is a 50-year technological revolution cycle. 250, 80, and 50, all converging right now. Right now, we're going to talk about the 50-year technological revolution cycle. Every 50 years, there's a new technology, a technological revolution. Technological revolution is different than a new technology, 2 main ways. The first way is that a technological revolution changes the course of humanity, changes the entire direction of humanity, and it drives all financial markets. The iPhone is not a technological revolution, it's a technology. It took a computer and a phone, put them together. That's cool. I like that. Everyone likes that, right? It's cool, but that's not new. It's not a revolution. A revolution, there's been 5. I'll break them down for you super fast because I don't have a lot of time. 1, the Industrial Revolution. All of humanity, we had horsepower, manpower. Now we had machines that could do the work of 5,000 men. That allowed men to free up time to work on science and medicine and explode the world forward. Then we had steam engines and railways. All of humanity, we could just have horsepower, manpower. Now we had steam engines that could move stuff across continents. Changed the course of humanity. We had electricity and steel. Without steel, we could only build 2 stories high. Now we could build skyscrapers. We could build bridges. I don't even have to tell you about electricity. Obviously, we wouldn't even be in this room without it. Then we had oil, automobiles. All of humanity, people walked and rode horses. Now we could drive. Imagine that. Then 1971, we had the age of the microprocessor, which brought us personal computers, telecommunications, the internet, Skype, Zoom, etc., the iPhone. And that's about every 50 years if you're keeping track. 1971 plus 50 years, if I'm good at math, puts me right at here today. And we're witnessing another technological revolution that most people are completely missing out on. They've completely missed the point because they're completely blinded by a bunch of shiny objects that are a bunch of fugazi. Just smoke. All right? Now, we see this happen all the time. This is nothing new. In the late 1800s, there was the bicycle. It was a brand new invention. Seems old to us now, but back then it was the first one. And when a little bit of money came into the game, everybody wanted to jump into the game. Between 1890 and 1900, there was a bicycle bubble. I'm not kidding. There was a bicycle bubble. Within a couple years, there was over 500 bicycle manufacturers. But guess what? 2 problems. 1, there wasn't enough market. There wasn't enough people to buy all those bicycles. And 2, there was no infrastructure for that. And very quickly, that bubble burst, and all those bicycle manufacturers went out of business. Didn't mean there was no bicycle in the future. Of course, there is today. Automobiles, same thing. First automobile came, everybody got excited, a bunch of venture capital came in. Within a few short years, we had 250 automobile manufacturers. Same problems. No market. Who was going to buy all those cars? 2, no infrastructure. No service stations, no gas stations, no roads. What are you going to do with all those cars? So they all went out of business. 3 remain, Ford, Chrysler, GM. And of course, today we have 250 automobile manufacturers. We saw the same thing in the 1995 to 2000. 1995 was the first IPO of the internet. That was Netscape. It made a lot of money. All the venture capitalists in Silicon Valley came on board. They started to build out everything in the world, and we had the famous pets.com and webvan.com. Same problem. No market. By 2000, less than 10% of people in the United States had ever bought anything online. No infrastructure. The internet was way too slow. It didn't even work for that. So these cycles repeat over and over, and if you can learn to spot how they work, you can understand and kind of start to peel back through the mess of what we have today and see what's really going on. This is the chart of the 3 cycles. I'm not going to go through that. All right, so the revolution, the technological revolution that happens every 50 years that changes the course of humanity, the one that we're witnessing today is decentralization. Don't miss this. Don't misunderstand this, all right? Let me break this down for you. For all of humanity, we have different ways to look at information, or property, I should say. So we have moved into the information age. Everybody know about the information age? Right? We're in the information age, of course, right? Now, we've been in the information age for a while, and the difference would be we had coins or tokens. That was a new invention. Now, if I have the coin, I have the coin. If I give it to you, you have it. We know who has the coin, who has it in their hand. But because we got into an information age, we went to a ledger system. Gold was hard to move around from continent to continent. Ships were sinking, pirates were out there, so we just used a ledger. And ledger isn't the actual physical thing, it represents, right? A physical token directly represents the state of things, directly represents. A ledger indirectly reflects the state of things. You got to understand this. This is the key piece to understand what's going on. The token directly represents, the ledger indirectly represents. Tokens are physical and distributed. Ledgers are informational and centralized. Tokens are inherently trustless. Ledgers are not. Who controls the ledger? When the Fed controls the ledger, they just keep producing more money on the ledger. So the revolution is moving from physical laws of man-made to man-made rules. From physical laws of who has the coin to man-made rules of who controls the ledger. That's the crux of the matter. This is the real revolution, and nobody's getting this because you're too blinded with all the smoke and mirrors. Let me break this down. Satoshi Nakamoto created the white paper that broke down Bitcoin. Nowhere in the white paper, how many people have read the white paper? Oh, good amount of you. Good. I like to see that. At the end, when you get this, I'll show you how you get the slides. I also have the white paper. You can check it out. In the white paper, he never mentioned the word blockchain. There's no mention of the word blockchain. He calls it a time chain. A time chain. You ever heard time is money? Time is money, right? What about money is time? What does that mean? Money is time. Well, we use money. Money is a store of energy. I dig a hole, I expend energy, I get paid in money. That money is my stored energy that I can use to go buy food, which is more energy into my body from a philosophical level. That money is stored energy. We use that energy to create order in our lives. We all want order. The natural state of the world is disorder. If I build a house and leave it alone for 50 years, what happens? It falls apart. Naturally, the world has entropy. It falls apart. We use energy to create order through time. Money is time. It has to be, a ledger has to have time stamps, has to be chronologically measured. If we both have a debit card to the same bank account with $200 in it, I go charge $150, you go charge $100. How does the ledger know which transaction to honor first? The time. Which time came in first? So on a centrally controlled ledger, that's how PayPal or Venmo, that's how they do that. But what if there was a way to have a ledger that nobody controlled and it would have a decentralized time stamping? He says, the solution we propose begins with a time-stamped server, taking a hash of a block, items to be time-stamped and widely publish the hash, such as in a newspaper. Each timestamp includes the previous timestamp in its hash, forming a chain. It processes a block of transactions and adds them to a chain. Oh, a blockchain. That's the snake oil salesman coming out. It's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin ain't the revolution. It's the blockchain. No. It's one of the many pieces. Let's take a look at this. Keeping the time one block at a time. This is a quote from good old Bill Shakespeare. Time's glory is to calm contending kings, to unmask falsehood and to bring truth to light. Time brings truth to light, to stamp the seal of time in age things, to wake the morning and sentinel the night, to wrong the wronger till he renders right. Time is the truth. It's the arbiter of truth. And what Satoshi Nakamoto, what Bitcoin discovered is uncorruptible truth with a time chain that nobody can control. And he did it, they did it, she did it, whoever they were, through a number of technologies, including they used the internet. They use something called Merkle trees, which is really where the blockchain kind of thing comes from. They use cryptography. They used proof of work. They created difficulty adjustments. And no one's inventing anything new. We take a bunch of things that we already have, we put them together in a unique way, and that's something new, right? So he took a bunch of things, put it together, and discovered a technological breakthrough. For the first time ever in history, and this is the key piece, you have to understand this, created digital scarcity. Digital scarcity. What does that mean? Because in the information age, information is always copied. If I have a coin in my pocket and I give it to you, there's no copy. It went from me, it went to you. If I have an idea and I give it to you, that idea is copied. We still have that. I still have that idea, right? That's information. If you send me an email and I forward it to somebody else, now those email copies are there. If you send me a picture of your vacation and then I send it to somebody else, that picture gets duplicated. Information gets duplicated. So how can we have true digital scarcity where the information is truly scarce and not duplicatable? How can you do that with information? It's never been done before. Everybody know Lynn Alden? If you watch George Gammon's channel, you know Lynn Alden. She's amazing. She's super smart, one of the smartest people in the space. She said to equate crypto with Bitcoin is to misunderstand both. So a lot of you out there, I talked to a lot of you last night, you're like, oh, Bitcoin, crypto, like Lynette Zhang was up here talking about Bitcoin, crypto, cryptography, Terra Luna. To equate Bitcoin and crypto together means you don't understand either. And you sure as heck should not be putting your money into anything you don't understand. I think it was George Gammon, he said, if you don't know what your investing edge is, everyone should have their edge. If you don't know what your edge is, it means you don't have one. Don't put your money into something you don't understand. If you don't know the difference between Bitcoin and crypto, what are you even doing? So we know that Fidelity said that Bitcoin first, why investors need to consider Bitcoin separately from other digital assets. Bitcoin is fundamentally different than any other digital asset. It's secure, it's decentralized, it's sound digital money, and any improvement will necessarily face trade-offs. That's Fidelity. $4 trillion, almost $5 trillion asset manager. So Bitcoin is secure, decentralized, sound digital money. That means other cryptocurrencies are not those things. That's what they're saying. That's their words. I'll also agree, but that's their words. They said any improvement will necessarily face trade-offs. George Gammon talks all the time about a cost-benefit analysis. Everything has a trade-off. So in order to get more of one thing, I must give up something of another. Now, for me, I don't like the Fed messing with my money. I don't like all the booms and busts that they create all the time. I don't like the fact that they put 40% more money in the system. We had this massive boom, and now they're sucking it all back out, and the whole world's crashing around me. No one should have that control. Nobody. It gets me angry to think about all the lives that are going to be ruined because they're sucking money out of the economy at their whim. Nobody should have that control. I would like something that's decentralized, sound digital money, and is secure. And there's no trade-off that's worth giving that up because that's the revolution that we're talking about.
Since you've stayed to the end, I know you like this video, which means you're probably going to really like this video right here and this video right here.